I've been there. There is no shame. The strength is asking for help. The strength is coming forward. And like I said, whether it's a counselor, a doctor, a family member, a friend, a work colleague, just ask for help. It's gonna be tough in the beginning, but it's so freaking worth it when you can reprogram your brain and your spirit and your mindset, and get that crap out of your core, and get rid of that dead spirit. And little by little, I promise you.
Welcome to the Gentleman Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast, where we bring to you the most successful, happy, fulfilled gentlemen from around the world who have been able to conquer themselves, their life, their marriage, and their businesses. You will be learning from four-dimensional gentlemen who have cracked the code to the science of having it all. The question is, how can married entrepreneurs with kids become gentlemen, achieve true freedom, and build a successful, happy, and fulfilled life, marriage, and business? This show will give you the answer for that. My name is Alex Ramirez, and I'm your host, and you're welcome to the Gentleman Success, Happiness, Fulfillment Talk podcast. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another life-changing episode of the Gentleman's SHF Talk with Alex Ramirez, the Gentleman's Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk with Alex Ramirez. Today, I have a very special guest. I'm very confident that the value that he's going to drop on you today is going to be life-changing for a lot of men out there. And before I introduce him to you, though, I just want to give a big shout out to all of you who have been leaving reviews, comments, subscriptions, likes on all the major podcasting platforms, on Google, on Apple, on Spotify, and to those who have been watching on YouTube as well. Thank you very much. And I want to ask you for something. I want to ask you that if you get some value out of this episode, if you feel something, if you get some value, if you get something out of this chat that we're going to have right now, please share it with one friend. Since this is how we grow, this is how we spread our message, this is how we motivate, inspire, and bless other people to change their lives and make an impact in the world. So I want to ask you to do that. And then, if you can, subscribe, like this video, comment. And most people don't do that. Most people never take the time to do that. Actually, 95% never take the time to do that. But the 5% of you who do are the ones who make all the difference. So to you, I say thank you. And today I have Darren Prince. He's an international bestseller author of his memoir, Aiming High. And he's a prominent sports and celebrity agent and global advocate for addiction and recovery. And through his agency career, Darren has worked with people like Magic Johnson, Hogan, Ric Flair, Jerry West, and a bunch of other names that I could probably spend the whole hour here reading. And he right now is a leading authority in his space, and he has been featured in the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, USA Today, CNN, Fox, and he is on a mission to help high functioning addicts in executives who are at risk of being an addict, and he's working with teens to working on the self-esteem, self-worth, and I'm very excited to talk to him. So Darren, thank you very much for being here, man. I really appreciate your time, and you're welcome.
Thanks for having me, man, and thanks for the intro. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So, man, the first thing that I do with my guest is I tell them it's a little bit different than most podcasts, but I tell them to walk us through their entrepreneurial journey. Walk us through your entrepreneurial journey in 75 seconds or less.
So I started a mail order baseball card business when I was 14 years old, and that company, blew up. By the time I was, I'd say 18, 19 out of college, I dropped out of college. I sold the company for $1 million, started a sports and celebrity memorabilia autograph company. We did autograph signings with everybody from Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, Magic Johnson, Joe Montana, Pamela Anderson, Chevy Chase, some of the biggest stars in the world. And I just got a bigger appetite after that. I eventually got out of that business, sold, and I started my agency, Prince Marketing Group, in 1994 with Magic Johnson as my first client, who I was actually just with yesterday. So he's been the catalyst to build around Prince Marketing Group, I'd say, about the past 28 years. And I just have always had, from my late father, may he rest in peace, that work ethic to just go. It's not what you say, it's what you do. And the idea is 1% and carrying it through is the other 99% is what he taught me.
Damn. So you sold two business before the age of what? In your 20s?
25, about 24, 25.
So by the age of 25, you had already exited, sold two businesses.
I did, but the second one didn't go so well. People have to read my book. The second one, I got into some legal problems with some fraud in my industry. But, it was one of those aha moments that my dad really said to me, I wanted to become an agent. And I said, I don't have 8 years to go to law school. And he goes, 8 years to go to law school? He goes, Darren, life is about who you know, not what you know. Because you can go to Magic Johnson's house, Pamela Anderson's house in Malibu, or Chevy Chase's estate, or Joe Frazier Gym, Muhammad Ali's ranch in Berrien Springs, Michigan. He goes, just speak to Magic. Magic's always been in your corner. And if you have the vision, there's no reason you got to go to law school. You just got to learn how to negotiate deals and understand the business. And then eventually, within a couple of years, Prince Marketing Group took off. And knock on wood, I haven't had to look back since.
Yeah, that's an amazing insight, man. So actually, you know who run hospitals? Well, it's
What's
not
that?
doctors. You know who runs hospitals? It's not
Right,
doctors,
not doctors.
right? Yeah. So it's not about what you know, it's who you know. And one of the reasons that I started my podcast, selfishly to like fulfill my purpose and my own growth, right? My purpose of helping others and my own growth of like interviewing men who are decades ahead of me and like learning from them, right? Another purpose that I started is to connect with people, right? To like start surrounding myself and connect with people who know more than me, because it's not what you know, it's who you know. And it's been like great. Like one of the major benefits for like starting my podcast is like the change in my identity. Another thing has been like the opportunities that has opened up for me. So like just an example, I had a 10-year goal of speaking in front of hundreds of people at an event, right? Because like one of my purposes is motivating, inspiring, and blessing people. And in 10 years from now, and because of my podcast, it's happening this year. So it's not what you know, it's who you know. So I don't know, can you give a little bit more insight on that?
And you're gonna make it happen. I mean, I always tell people either get mentors or people that are where you're trying to get to, because you learn from their years of mistakes, and it'll cost you a ton of time, because time's the most valuable thing we have, and a lot of money. And you gravitate towards their success. So why not? Don't be afraid to reach out to certain celebrities on social media. You never know, who you'll get a reaction from. I'm all about paying it forward professionally, but more importantly, personally, with my journey from, the hell of addiction to the beauty of spiritual recovery.
Yeah, man, I want to get into that. But before I do, man, so you said you started your baseball card business at 13?
14.
14. So you've always had that, right? Like that little, I don't know. How do you call it? How do you call that?
Entrepreneurship. I had that drive. I wasn't a great student in school. I'm a teacher that I'm still friends with this day, Elliot Lovey, challenged the whole class to go home and try to create a business overnight. And I had a very valuable collection, because my friends at that point in 1984, many years ago, baseball cards weren't cool anymore. So I had 4 different odd jobs, and I'd buy everybody's collections, and I would trade. And I built up a collection worth thousands of dollars. And I told my dad I needed insurance one night in case there was ever a flood in the house, and he thought I was crazy and said, how are they worth so much? And I read I had a big newspaper at something called the Baseball Card Convention, and I showed him, and we went over what it would cost, and it would take 2 weeks to, make it happen. And it worked. I was prepared. I mean, I knew that this day was going to be something special. It was going to be my opportunity to kind of show the world that the so-called kid with the learning disability was here for a reason.
Cool. So, man, so you weren't good at school. So, how did you?
I was terrible, man. It was. I just think back then they didn't know what ADD was. So unless it was sports or maybe math, I really didn't gravitate to a lot. I really didn't understand it. But my dad noticed something with my brain work with numbers that was very unique compared to most other kids.
So what did you do in school? Were you like bored out of your mind? Were you like
bored? I
constant problems?
daydreamed. I'd work on making little notes and inventory and laying out advertisements for my baseball card business. And the teacher would walk by, I'd turn the page in my notebook and just kind of just couldn't wait to get out of there. I felt uncomfortable. A lot of that was my personal journey, uncomfortability in my own skin, feeling less than, not feeling a part of, feeling like a little bit of an outcast and not belonging. So
Mm.
that business, that's what gave me a feeling of self. That was the first time something actually made me feel good, because now all of a sudden I'm the kid that everybody's talking about, making all this money.
Mm. So then that's when the chase started. So you like felt less than, like you didn't belong.
Yeah, the chase for me started, at 14, when that business started. And then, women, I wasn't really interested in dating till I was 18. At this point, it was more validation. I wanted everybody to know that I was making something really big of myself, that started getting a lot of notoriety in newspapers locally around the country, talk shows, interviews. And I loved it. At that time, I thought I needed it. I thought that was that validation. We talked about the 4 points before this interview. I did it in complete reverse. I went after the money, and I went after the validation and the recognition, because I thought that was the most important.
Man, and what do you think that is? Like, why do you think? Because that's a trap that a lot of entrepreneurs, fall into. And actually, there's one of my mentors calls it the white rabbit, right? Like chasing the white rabbit. So, like they're chasing a rabbit that they'll never be able to catch, right? Thinking that when they get the business, when they get the achievement, when they make $1 million, they'll be happy, then they'll be good enough, then they'll be fulfilled. But then they get there, right? They climb the mountain, and they get there wanting to jump out of it, like jumping, wanting to jump down, right? Because like they
Yeah,
get there and they realize that they're actually not happy. They're actually
it's
unfulfilled.
not everything you think it is. I mean, money's great. Don't get me wrong. Success is amazing, but for me, it's so I can bless other people. I feel money, it doesn't buy real happiness. It buys temporary happiness. It does buy a lot of relief during stressful times, but doesn't make you organically happy. It doesn't make you healthy. Um, I just think that comes from within, and it took me quite a while on that journey until I was 38, until I started the journey of finding myself in recovery.
38. Man, I'm so glad that I've quote unquote found myself, because I've also I also like growing up struggled with like not feeling good in my own skin, like not liking myself, feeling less than, like not feeling like I belong, like I didn't fit in, and insecurities. I didn't feel good
Yep.
enough. That led to me counting my calories since I was like 10 or 11 years old. I've been counting my calories since I was 10. Wanting to use like dick pills and like pumps, because I thought that I wasn't good enough, because of how much, I guess, porn I watched, like using steroids because I thought I wasn't good enough.
Oh
Like
yeah, man.
just
I did steroids for a long time. Yeah, that was another
doing
thing
all
I'm
kinds
gonna.
of dumb shit, right? Just to try to prove myself that I got good stuff
Yeah,
going on for myself, right? Like trying to validate and gain other people's approval. So like I would love to, because I mean, man, I bet that there's other men, like doing that, wanting to doing things not because of self-fulfillment, or not because of their self-worth. I mean, not because of growth and contribution, but because they're just trying to prove something to someone that doesn't even care about them.
yeah.
All right. So I would love for you to like give me your take on that, man.
It was interesting because when I did Jay Shetty's podcast, Jay's a good friend, and he said to me that he's like, "Wow, that's amazing. Here you made it at the top of the industry, this so-called super agent, and you're still looking backwards at the people that mean nothing, that have nowhere near the level of your success, rather than staying in the moment and embracing it." I think a lot of that is just getting in touch with sense of self. Life happens so quick after high school. I think for all of us, and that inner crap is still here. Whether it's trauma, whether it's emotional issues, comfortability in your own skin, and for me, I was always looking for an outside fix that ultimately was an inside job. And I
Mm.
think for such a long part of my success, it was always like this: middle finger to everybody else. Look at me. Look at where I got. You know, Nobody's going to touch me where I'm at right now. And it's the private jets, the biggest stars in the world, and the red carpets and the Super Bowls and the backstage passes, and just became my life. But, that stuff is still there. It's no different than you see one of these athletes sign a monstrous contract in their late teens, and then they get in a ton of trouble because you don't really know who you are at that point. you're still an everyday human being, regardless of the fame and fortune you have, that has stuff. And that's why I'm so passionate when I speak to high school kids, because I don't want them going down the road that I went down. And you're better off to speak up now. And the way you found it at such a young age is remarkable, because, you know, I don't have any regrets. For me, it happened perfectly, the exact way God wanted it to happen. But, you know, there's billionaires out there that have so much trauma, inner healing that's needed. And all they're doing is running from it by getting to that next level of success,
By
or getting
achieving.
a billion or two, and they just hide it. It just goes so deep into their core. And I was just one of the lucky ones that ripped it out, and realized that life is about humility and service to me.
That was beautiful, man. So when you say like speak up, what do you mean when you say speak up?
Gotta ask somebody for help, man. It's just such a world. Forget, you know, there's got to be a friend, a colleague, a family member, loved one, whoever, a teacher, if you're in school and you're listening to your podcast. Now, it's got to be somebody, guidance counselor, that just say you feel different. Tell them that you failed that test that you worked so hard on. Tell them that, you know, you just don't feel like you're fitting in, because, you know, if you continue in that same, you know, way, it's just going to chase you the rest of your life. You're going to be that same way in the workforce. You're going to be that same way in relationships. You're going to be the same way with friendships. And you're always going to be trying to prove that person, to be that person, to really prove or show that you're somebody that you're really not, you know. And like I said, for me, I had all the success and the material things, and I'd be at home and I, in my head, in the height of my addiction, wanting to kill myself, and I wouldn't wake up in the morning, because I never dealt with it until, you know, I had my own God moment on July 2nd, 2008, and I surrendered. I said, I'm so sick and tired of being sick and tired. I want to, you know, I need help. And you know, for me, July 2nd, 2008, at the time seemed like the worst day of my life, but it actually turned out to be my very best, because that's when I started my journey of healing, accountability. I call it the 5 A's: attitude, adjustment, acceptance, action, and accountability. And that's when I really got to the root of the problems, whatever those issues might have been, and started slowly learning how to love myself for who I am, and not what I am, and not what I do. And, you know, the sports and celebrity agent life, that's just what it is. It's a job, it's a career. You know, there's nothing in this world that makes me happier than, you know, helping somebody that's sick and suffering with either addiction or mental health issues or self-esteem issues. That's what life's about. You know, I don't want people going down there with the Darren Prince did, because Darren Prince wasn't cool. He thought, and everybody else from the outside thought I was the coolest, most successful guy. You know, now I tell kids, look at me now. Sorry, bro. Give me a sec.
Oh, you're muted. I can't listen. I can't hear you. Let me see if something's wrong with me. Everything seems to be right with me, man. For some reason I can't hear you, man. Let's see. Let's see. Speak for. I can't hear you, man. Can you hear me? Yes, sir. Like, can you hear me or no? I can't.
Sorry.
There. I can hear you
I'm on
now.
my iPhone, so I had a call come in. So what I was saying is, you know, when I tell high school kids, you know, forget what I do. You know, what's cool is who I am. When I wake up every day, loving myself from the inside, and, you know, still working on character defects and being a service to other people. Because people spend a lifetime, man, trying to get there, and you got
Yeah.
18 years, 19 years before I started. I can't imagine where you're going to get to when you don't care about what people think, and you just stay on your own journey and turn out the noise and do what makes you happy. It's the greatest thing in the world. I could lose all the stuff. I could lose all the stuff tomorrow. I could lose the money tomorrow. Only thing that would break my heart is I couldn't take care of people. But you're still going to be talking to the same me.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to change.
So, man, I hope people get I hope that a couple of the things that people get from what you're saying is that loving yourself for who you are, not what you have, what you do, or how you look like, right? For like who you are at the core from the inside, right? Loving yourself from the inside out, and not from like what's on the outside. Another very powerful thing, man, that you mentioned is how
yeah, it's a good one. Go ahead.
Another very powerful thing that you mentioned is how like your happiness depends like on you, from the inside, not on all the stuff on the outside, the money, the cars, the validation, the fame, all of that. No, like you can not have all of that and you still be good right now because of who you've realized you are, right? Because of like who you are at the core. And I was actually having a conversation with, I don't know if you know him. His name is Peter Sage.
Okay. No, I'm not familiar.
He's like on like a spiritual guide, spiritual master. Okay. And I was telling him that like I wanted to be a billionaire, not because I think that when I get to $1 billion I'll be happier or I'll be more fulfilled or because I think that will solve my problems. Like no, like I'm happy right now. Like right now, man, I feel successful, happy, and fulfilled. And if all I ended up doing was what I'm doing right now, or even less, or nothing else, like I would be good. Like right now, I feel good with who I am and what I am right now.
Right, I wasn't that way at your age, man. I had the disease of more at a very young age. I needed more, and that you're there right now is beautiful because people should really take that to heart and understand that there's nothing wrong with success. There's nothing wrong with being driven. But, if you're running away from problems because of that drive, if you're running away from accountability to deal with that inner stuff, it's just going to get worse. It's just going to manifest in your soul and you're going to act out in so many other ways like I did, whether it was, drugs, alcohol, partying, women, gambling, over shopping, steroids. And, I just realized that was all the facade part of it. That was all that I needed everybody to think the real Darren Prince was about. And now, just not me anymore. I look back and just lucky to be alive because there was a few nights that I shouldn't have made it with some overdoses. And I got the most amazing life in the world today, but I work at it every day too. I'm part of a fellowship in recovery, man. What I did yesterday was good for yesterday's spiritual sobriety. I don't need to put a drug in my system to act out. I always say it's about saying what you mean, meaning what you say, and not saying it mean. It's about not engaging with people. It's about, trying to understand others instead of you being understood. And like in that heat of that moment of that argument with a friend, colleague, loved one, family member, try to feel all right than right. Because you will screw up your entire day trying to make a point to be right. Not worth it. Not worth it.
But funny enough, man, most people are addicted to like proving themselves right. Most people would want to prove themselves right than get what they want.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just not worth it because, you think that in the end of the day, you're winning, but you're not because those are the people it's proven, stress, anxiety, depression, all of those mood disorders, those character defects cause long-term health issues. And, so I do everything I possibly can to stay in that place of peace. And like I said, I'm not perfect. I'm perfectly imperfect. My girlfriend, Nicolette, who I love more than anything in the world, it's a big age difference. I'm 52, she's 25, but she's an old soul. And, she sees me speak all the time and the magic that happens. And, we complement each other so great with different age and generational gaps because, she can identify not with the drug part, but obviously growing up in New York and, being young and how this whole world that she's a part of is all about social media and how things look. And I didn't have that growing up, and always wanted to look your best and filters. And, I can't imagine if I had social media growing up. I was already a train wreck. Forget about it.
Yeah, man. So like, where do you think addiction comes from? Because the other
Um,
day I
I,
heard you
I,
say,
look, I know a lot of doctors say it's hereditary if it's in a household. Yeah, I get that. Sometimes it's passed along, but I know a lot of people that grew up in alcoholic and drug addict households that never had a drink in their life. They never touched a drug. I think, you know, for me, it's the way I look at it is it's an escape, and it's an escape from yourself, where there's a substance or a chemical that you put in your body that finally makes you feel whole. It takes away the fear, the anxiety, the uncomfortability in your skin. And we don't actually get addicted, just so you know, to the drugs and the alcohol.
hey, sorry for the interruption. I just wanted to tell you that this podcast has completely changed my life in ways that you could never imagine, and I would like the same for you. Look, you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with, and the fastest way for you to level yourself up in every area of your life is for you to connect with people who are where you want to be, build relationships with them, and connect with them. The best way for you to do that right now in the digital age is for you to start your own podcast. And I just wanted to let you know that I have a free training that you can get free access to. It's called the 30-day net worth skyrocketing 3-step podcast cloak track framework. And it's going to show you how you can start and automate everything in your podcast, from finding your ideal guest, getting them on an interview with you, and creating an automated content machine in just 30 days. By executing on this free training, you're going to be able to connect with high level people, no matter how rich, famous, or out of your league they may seem, in just 30 days with less than 1 to 2 hours per week, so that you can increase your net worth, your authority, your trust, your client acquisition ability, and your opportunity. So there's a special link for this free training in the description of this video. Thank you for watching and tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of this episode. Bye-bye.
We get addicted to the escape. When I was using, we get addicted to that escape from reality because it's too tough to face whatever it is going on. And then eventually we have to face our demons. And the lucky ones get to come out of the other side, because for me, like I tell parents that have kids that are struggling, or, husbands and wives I've spoken to where the significant others struggling, we really got 3 choices when it gets that bad. You get locked up, covered up, or cleaned up.
Locked up. What else?
Covered up or cleaned up.
What's covered up?
Covered up means you're dead.
Shit. Yeah, that's true, man.
There's
Locked up, covered up, or
there's
clean.
no other way out of it.
Yeah. And okay, so you were using, so like, what kinds of drugs were you using, man? And like, were you,
Well,
sedating
I was
yourself
doing all
with?
the recreational stuff up until I was 24, but when I became an agent, I had what's known as morality clauses, so I was very careful at that point. But I was much bigger. I was on steroids, had a lot of physical ailments, and every doctor gave me whatever I wanted, because I put them on the phone with Joe Frazier, Hulk Hogan, get them assigned basketball for Magic Johnson. How could I have a problem? So I got opiates, and Oxycontins, Percocets, and Vicodins. The opiate epidemic wasn't nearly that bad, and I would get legitimate prescriptions, 200-300 pills a month, and paid my copay and didn't have to go in the streets. And the sick, diseased brain thought, oh, this is great. I could still get zooted, still have a few drinks, travel on the private jets, the planes, go to events. Nobody's going to own nothing. And for 8 years, it worked. And I built up the agency. I networked my ass off. And I say it like this: at one point, what was living to use actually turned out to using to live. And I don't know when it turned on me, but my superpowers were gone, and I can never get back that feeling. And then it got to a point for the next 7 or 8 years I was using just to not get dope sick and go into detox.
Damn. What do you mean your superpowers were gone?
They gave me superpowers. I felt like Superman every time.
Oh, when you like ingested that
networking machine, with business schmoozing with all the celebrities I was trying to bring into the agency, all the big corporate clients we're doing business with, and they all thought that was me. That wasn't me. It was a facade.
Yeah, I heard you the other day saying something very, very interesting, which is something along the lines of, if you are that guy that needs to put something in their system to be someone you are not, ask for help.
Yep, that guy or girl, anybody. Yep.
So, man, I mean, it's very common. I always see it, right? Like, people, even with my family, like, they cannot have fun if they don't if they don't take a few drinks, right? Like if you don't,
Yeah.
they take a few drinks, maybe smoke a little bit of weed or whatever, they can't have fun, and they'll be sitting
Yeah.
down on the corner, just like looking, staring at their phone, sedating with themselves with social media, with it, which is just like the other side of the same coin, right?
Yeah.
So like, why do you think that is, man?
I just think that's society. I just think a lot of people just think, hey, I'm going to blow off steam. And yeah, that might be good for 3 or 4 years into your mid-20s, but the smart ones outgrow it. And they don't have a problem. Or they know how to do it recreationally once every couple of weeks or on the weekends or on a Saturday night going out with their girls or their boys and whatever it might be. But, that's just not the way I'm built, and I think what happens is you start looking more forward to those nights to get away from the everyday stresses. And in reality, how much is everyday stress to all of us? I think a lot of us have luxury problems. If you're sick, if you have a loved one that's sick, a child, God forbid, yeah, those are real problems. I get it. But I believe that, when the good times happen to me in life, man, I don't learn anything about myself anymore. It's easy to rejoice when things are great. I need to be in the thick of things. And I hate, as much as I hate it, I know that God's got me on a mission because that's where the growth comes. I need to just, when I wake up and it's a bad day in business, something went wrong, something up with the client, or a deal went south, or I'm not feeling my best. Like I've learned on this almost 14-year journey of sobriety and recovery, I just got to take it in. And I can't be that guy that says, oh God, why me? I'd rather be, okay, God, I'm ready. Try me. I know you're freaking digging into that, inner core of growth. So just bring it on, because I know something beautiful is going to come out of this.
Yeah. You grow through challenges.
Yep.
Amazing, man. So man, you realized, you said you learned your lesson, right? Like you understood the problem that you had until you were 38. So what made the shift? Like, did you ask for help, or like what made you
Yeah,
realize?
it always gets emotional. I tell the story. My uncle and his then girlfriend were visiting from Miami. My late uncle Stu that passed away last September, and they were visiting my mom in New Jersey. They came by my place. I was just at, I like to call it the jumping off point. This woman, Andrea, never met me before. She looked at me and said, "Are you okay?" And I opened up to her. I told her everything, man, for the first time in my life, everything. And I just felt a connection with her. And she's like, "Do you realize you're an addict, that your life is unmanageable?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Do you realize that you have a disease?" I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Most importantly, do you realize that the disease of addiction does not discriminate? It doesn't care if you're from Yale or jail. It'll beat you to your knees. So all this stuff you have means nothing, because you don't mean nothing to yourself." And that broke my soul. And I started to cry. And she goes, "It's okay. Are you willing to do what it takes to get sober? Because I can help you. I've got 5 years of sobriety. And your uncle now has three years." And I said, "I'll do anything." So she put me on a detox plan. And that second day was July 2nd, 7 o'clock at night. I was living at the Caroline building in New York City, and came back from the gym. I'm going through detox pains, sick to my stomach. I feel like I wanted to jump off the freaking balcony in my building. And I called them up. I said, "I can't freaking do this. I'm going to call the doctor, get my opiates. I need to get whatever you need to get." And my uncle picked up the phone and said, "It's the damn disease talking, Darren. It's time to put your freaking damn ego aside and go to one of these 12-step meetings and tell these people you're sick and suffering and you need help." And I said, "I'm not doing it. I've been to the dumb meetings. These people aren't me. They don't understand my world. They don't understand my life." And I hung up the phone, ran into the bathroom, and locked myself in. And at the time I was married, my then wife was banging on the door, hysterically crying, thinking I was either going to take my life or overdose again. And I'm trying to find these non-narcotic anxiety pills, and out came 2 Vicodins out of one of the bottle, which was crazy because we spent half the day cleaning out all the medicine cabinets to get rid of all the opiates. And, for a split second, man, it actually seemed like a gift from God. I was like relieved, like, yes, just what I needed. And then the miracle happened, because I wanted to live more than I wanted to die. And I fell on my knees and I screamed out to God, "God, take the money, take the notoriety, take the business. If you can give me a single day of freedom, one day at a time, I will spend the rest of my life taking others out of hell." And he heard me, because I truly had a white light moment. I had a burning sensation on my right shoulder. I heard a voice in my right ear tell me that "I've got you and you're ready." I stood up, I flushed the pills, went into the living room on a computer, and I found a 12-step meeting. in the upper 80s. I jumped in a taxi. There was no new Ubers at the time. It's a beautiful summer night, man. I remember the windows are down, and I'm looking up at the sky saying, oh my God, for the first time of my life, I wanted to stay sober more than I wanted to get high. And I walked into a church basement. The 150 addicts and alcoholics who were all once of a hopeless state of mind. And the leader said, is anybody new coming back from suffering? And this ego went right out the window, and I put my hand up. I said, my name's Darren. I'm sick. I'm suffering. I've been an addict for 24 years. I need your guys' help. And about a dozen people came over to me and told me the most amazing things, that you're in the right place. It's easier to stay here than to come back. It's easier to stay sober than to get sober again. Stick with the winners. If you want what we have, then do what we do. And they said, we're going to love you before you ever learn how to love yourself. And one day at a time, working the 12 steps and going deep into that core of my childhood. I had great parents, nothing against them. I slowly but surely started getting that stuff out, and little by little starting to love myself. And when I got to 1 year sober, I realized the most important thing was that to keep this gift of recovery, to keep the gift of sobriety, I better give it away to other people. And then that's when growth went to another level, because that self-esteem started becoming developed from doing esteemable acts.
Oh, it's a powerful story, man. Did you believe in God before that happened? Before that?
I think I did. I mean, I think I left him at a certain point in my life. You know, I grew up Jewish. I don't know. I mean, I believed in him, but I didn't think he believed in me, and then realized he always did believe in me. You know, I feel like, you know, I think when you're in that downward spiral, you kind of just lose faith in everything. And I lost sight of the fact that, yeah, I had the business success and the career, but I was just miserable, you know. And the amazing thing was, you know, the first 3 or 4 years, all I was doing was trying to stay sober one day at a time, help so many people. And those first 4 years, I needed God in my life every day. And then I started getting these spiritual signs that God needed me. And I knew I'd need to do something much bigger with this platform, that whole so-called super agent life that I was a part of. I need to find a way to use that platform to be a voice and to get this out there and help so many people that are sick and suffering, not just from addiction, but mental health.
Awesome, man. That's a great mission that you're on. So like, what do you think is what would you say to someone out there? You know, maybe right now they feel guilty and they feel shame about, you know, I don't know, maybe having to drink every night to calm down, or having to smoke it and pop pills to calm down, or whatever, right?
I've been there. There is no shame. The strength is asking for help. The strength is coming forward. And you know, like I said, whether it's a counselor, a doctor, a family member, a friend, a work colleague, just ask for help. It's gonna be tough in the beginning, but it's so freaking worth it when you can reprogram your brain and your spirit and your mindset, and you know, get that crap out of your core and get rid of that dead spirit. And little by little, I promise you, you know, if you don't go back to it and you get part of a fellowship, a spiritual fellowship, yoga, there's so many different ways people can do it, a therapist, retreats, substitute it with something else that's healthy, you know, better food, working out, being around positive people, you're going to find yourself, and you're going to realize that it's the greatest thing you've ever done in your life. Because I know this is for me. You know, I found my soul in recovery. I found my purpose in life on this journey. And I'm living proof that if I can want out deep out of hell, anybody else can do it too.
So, man, so why is the first step? Why is like important for people to ask for help?
You just have to, you know, nobody can do this by yourself. If you admit that you have a problem and you know something is wrong and you're able to speak up, and like I said, whoever it might be that can help you, point you in the right direction, or just go right to the place that you feel might help you. It could be a treatment center. It could be, like I said, a psychotherapist. There could be a local hospital that can detox you. Nobody's going to deny you. But you have insurance or not, you know, they're going to do whatever they can to help you get clean. It's a mess out there right now with the pandemic, man. There's so many people suffering, and it's the time to do it. You know, tomorrow could be the first day of your brand new life for anybody that's listening.
Yeah. Awesome. Powerful, man. So, man, would you mind sharing, like, what were some of the, like, inner trauma, or like, what were some of the reasons that you found out that caused for you to not feel good under your own skin, which led to you having to, like, relieve that pain, that shame, that whatever you felt with, with opioids or whatever?
My story is different, because like I said, I had an amazing dad. He's my best friend in the world. I miss him every day. My mom is great. I have a sister that was very loving and caring. But for me, I think my trauma really was in school. I think it was being verbally teased about being stupid and an idiot. And I think being in small classrooms and, always feeling less than. There wasn't one isolated incident, but, when you take that with you and you're not speaking up, it would break my soul. It would break every ounce of self-confidence. And, being so close to my family, when I was away from them, I had like crippling anxiety all the time. I was always this nervous kid that wanted to be near my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
And I just think it was a perfect storm, for me to eventually, do what I did.
Okay. So feeling less than, being brought down. Yeah, man. I'm just trying to, like, connect the dots here. Cool, man. So, man, I have 5 questions for you. I want to make sure that we have enough time to go over them.
Okay.
The first question is, what piece of advice would you give your 20-year-old self if you could? Like, not go back and redo your life or anything like that. No, just give your 20-year-old self some advice. What would that be?
Forget other people's opinions.
That's it?
That's it. I mean, because I think that was it for me. I cared about what everybody thought at such a young age.
And that's powerful, man. So, like, I just want to take a minute to help anyone unplug from the matrix. I've said this before, but, like, we're in a movie right now. You're the star of your own movie, right? Like, you are the star of your own movie. I'm the star of my own movie. Anyone else in this movie that, of your life, every scene, there's you, right? Like, you are in every scene of your movie. You're the star of your movie. Anyone else is like an extra, or like someone that is just going by, right? And, like, you are insecure, right? Like, you have insecurities because you think that everyone else in your movie who's just an extra or just passing by is thinking about you, right? So your insecurity, you have insecurities around what they think of you, when in reality they are in their own movie thinking about what other people think of themselves, and they don't even have time to think badly about you, right? Like,
Exactly.
Number one, they don't have time to think about you because they don't care. And if they do, like, it doesn't really matter, right? Because they're just passing by. They're just an extra in your movie. And when you're able to realize this, when you're able to realize that 80% of the world do not care about the problems that you have, and 15% of the world are glad that you have them, and then the other 5%.
And none of us are that important that people are thinking about us all the time.
Exactly, right? Because, man, caring about what other people think, caring about what I call goop, the good opinion of other people, is something that holds a lot of people back, right? It's like one of the things that was keeping me from starting my podcast. I'm about 70 interviews in right now, less than 6 months. I started less than 6 months ago. I'm about 70 interviews in. And one of the things that was keeping me from starting this podcast and helping, thousands of people, probably hundreds of thousands of people that I'm going to be reaching, was fear. Like, just fear of what people are going to think, or fear of what, successful people like you were going to think when a 20-year-old Mexican kid reached out to them to be on my podcast. That's it. That's all that was holding me back.
And I don't have to think that way anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like the number one thing that holds people back, like fear of the judgment, fear of not being seen, fear of not being heard, and fear of what other people might think. So great advice, man. The second question is around mindset. So, like, what is one mindset shift that you went through that you can share that, like, has allowed that first of all allowed you to, like, get out of the darkest place in your life, and second of all, allowed you to, like, get to where you are right now in your life, with all the success and all that?
I mean, I think the mindset was important, to surround myself with positive people that gave me good emotional, spiritual, and mental vibes, because you are the 3 or 4 people that you hang around the most, you know?
Hmm.
I think that was everything. And I was around my spiritual brothers and sisters that created this brand new foundation. They became my spiritual family. They became closer than my real family, than any friends, any work colleagues, any celebrities I represented. Because I needed to reprogram my brain in my own way. I needed to brainwash my brain to get to a, you know, different level that I've never been to. And it was so impactful. And I still do that to this day. I avoid drama as much as possible. I mean, everybody has it in their life, but I almost like, I can't digest that because it takes me off the spiritual beam for the day. What was the second part of the question?
So, mindset shift. I asked a mindset shift that took you out of the dark place, and a mindset shift that has allowed you to get to where you are right now in your life in terms of success. So,
I mean, truthfully, I think the 2 biggest inspirations, my father was one, but I have a sponsor. I hate using that word. He's my spiritual brother, Steve Delaval, that's got 35 years sober. I followed his blueprint for success and recovery. And then, Magic Johnson and Hulk Hogan are 2 of the nearest and dearest. Ric Flair, too, as far as business and personal relationships. We have such a deep love for one another. Charlie Sheen is very near and dear to me. And, I think my whole team, I've got some of the greatest people in the world that work with me. I don't say for me because I look at this, it's all a partnership, and they pick up the slack so I can continuously focus on being me, which ultimately betters the agency and betters the company. And you need that. You need a good team behind you.
yeah, 100%. Awesome, man. So basically surround yourself with good people, and you indeed are the average of the 5 people you're surrounding yourself with. That's another reason why I started my podcast. Like the number one benefit that I've seen, that I've felt, that I've experienced from interviewing over 70, 6, 7, 8, and even 9-figure entrepreneurs in the last 6 months is to the change in my identity.
Yeah.
Right. The realization that, like, holy shit, like all this time I've just been talking to men who put their pants one leg at a time. Right. And it's really cool because it's like holding a mirror in front of me every time I get on, on these interviews, and I'm able to see all the things that I have, all the good things that I have, as well as all the things that I haven't developed yet.
Yep.
And it's great, man. And you are the average of the 5 people.
I love that.
And another thing, right? Environment is everything. Like if you
we say people, places, and things in recovery. People, places, and things. The people hang out with, the places you go, and the things you do.
Right. Yeah. So if you are cold and you want to be warm, it doesn't matter if you put 50 jackets on. If you live in a freezer, you'll be cold. Right.
Yeah.
Like same thing. Like if you are a drug addict, a negative person, and you want to become positive, you won't be able to become positive by staying in a negative environment full of drug addicted and negative people. Right.
Yeah.
So making that change.
I hate to cut you short. I got about 3 minutes.
All right, awesome, man.
I got 2 clients coming over, so let's get to it and finish this up strong. It's been amazing. You made my day.
Awesome, man. Thanks. So let's see. Another question is clarity. So how do you do you have any advice on clarity and like how to help people?
With that, I do as much prayer as I can, at night, beginning of the morning. I'm a big believer in alternative like wellness and health. I think when people, if you're listening, if you're really stressed out and everything is just wrong, put yourself into a room by yourself and actually try nasal breathing. Breathe 10, 15 times through your nose. You have no idea what that does for you. You have no idea. It can literally bring you back to a sense of like relaxation, that clarity that you need when life is just all over the place. But it's something you almost have to do daily. I'm big on, working out 5 days a week. I just turned 52, trying to follow the best diet that I can, drink a lot of water. I think all that's so important to maintain that mental clarity, because you go off and any of those things aren't working. I'm very big on routine. You're not going to have that clarity that you need.
Cool. And lastly, man, a habit. Do you have any habits that has allowed you to get to where you are right now in your life?
I mean, I hate to use the term because I don't have it, but I believe I do have an obsessive personality that I use for mostly good. Everybody at Prince Marketing Group, my agents, my assistants, my girlfriend Nicolette, they'll tell you there's times where it could be used a little bit bad, but when you look at where I'll obsess on certain things getting done, and have to understand it's not always on my timeline. I have to practice the serenity prayer a lot, which, says, accept the things we cannot change, the courage of know the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. But nowhere in that prayer, as my sponsor Steve taught me, does it tell us we have to like what we're accepting. So I practice that a lot, but for the most part, like I said, I've shifted into a healthier, obsessive way of life with my personal recovery journey, and the same thing with work. My clients know, I'll be up at 3, 4, 5 in the morning, working overseas with different brands and companies that are trying to work with us, because it's the way I am. I'm not going to change. I'm 52 years old. I've been living this way. And I think a lot of times too, if you're suffering with mental health and substance abuse, you got to find a healthy addiction. You got to find a couple of 2, 3, 4 healthy things to replace that, because you're not just going to get clean and sober and just sit on the couch and watch TV all day. That ain't going to work.
Yeah, 100%. Awesome, man. So, man, I've had a lot of fun as well. You also made my day, and thank you very much for being here with me and having this chat. If I'm interested in the work that you do, man, I want to learn more about everything that you do, everything that you're all about, and who you are, and all of that. Where can I find more of you, man? Where should I go?
So I've got my own website, official DarrenPrince.com, DARREN Prince.com. My Instagram is @agent_DP. And the business side of my life is www.princemarketinggroup.com.
Awesome, man. We'll put everything on wherever this appears, everywhere this appears. And thank you very much for being here, man. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks for reaching out, man. I appreciate it. And keep up with your journey. It's beautiful. You're inspiring a lot of people.
Thanks, man.
Thanks,
see you later. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you for watching the Gentleman's Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with one friend, leave us a comment, and let us know. 99% of people never leave a review or comment, but we love and are very thankful with the 1% of you who do. If there's something or someone you want to see on this podcast, send me a message on Instagram @Alex_Ramirez1020 and let me know. As a thank you for that, I have an amazing surprise for each and every one of you who does take the time to leave us a comment or review on YouTube or one of the major podcasting platforms